Hi, I'm going to make a little drawing of an eye. It's a detail of a photo that I found on Pixabay. And first I draw the lines of the eye. You also see the highlights. I drew the highlights, the outer borders of that, the eyebrow here. So first I want to get the form, the shape of the eye well defined on the paper, so that I know that is more or less correct. And from there I start adding tonal values and dark accentuations. I'm going quite dark right away. Here, that area above the eye, the eyelid, also dark. And when I draw this first, in this first phase, I want the eye to have a certain character immediately, so that encourages me to go on. Using a mechanical pencil, sharpening those wooden pencils was a bit frustrating. They kept breaking, so this is quite easy. And this pencil is 2B graphite, and I don't even sharpen this. It's just I just start drawing, and while I'm drawing, I think the point sharpens itself. Here I'm adding tonal values. Also the white of the eye I defined with tonal values. I do not leave it white, but I want to define it with a certain gray here as well. The eyelashes, I'm adding them here. I said I'm doing the eyelid, but I'm actually doing the inside of the eyelid, because the eye is looking up. So what you're seeing there was not really the eyelid, or let's say it was the inside of the eyelid. So that's why you see on top of that area those hairs of the eyelashes. Here I'm making that inside of the eyelid darker. Adding some tonal value for the skin, so there's some sort of context for the eye. And I'm not really visibly using hatchings. I'm using tonal values, and the lines aren't really visible. So sometimes you see some sort of hatching, but for the most part I'm using tonal values that are quite, how do you say that, closed or something. Not built up of loose lines like hatchings, but just areas of grayness or darkness. And as you can see, it's like a veil of gray that is being applied in areas. Sometimes I think a little bit of watercoloring when I use that kind of veiling. Maybe a bit strange to compare that, but it does have that kind of appearance, like a washed drawing sometimes in certain areas. Here I'm adding hairs, so you have tonal values, but also I'm suggesting that there are individual hairs there by drawing those lines, those hair lines. Adding some accentuation for the skin, the inside of the eyelashes there, or the inside of the upper eyelid, I mean. Adding some tonal value to the skin, and you can see that the form of the skin below the eye is also formed, I think, by the eyeball, I think. I wasn't really aware of that while I'm drawing it, but when looking back now as I am talking about this drawing, I think of that. And I was actually concentrated for the most part on drawing the eye, and the skin was a little bit of an afterthought, like something you do with it. But while I'm working on the eyebrow, I had to make more of that skin as well, because it plays a greater part in the whole concept of the eye, of the drawing of the eye when the eyebrow is also drawn. So I had to put more energy in the skin around the eye than I thought beforehand. So that's why it's a little bit too sketchy sometimes in certain aspects, I think. And later on in the drawing, I try to work on that a little more. But if I had known beforehand that the skin would be this important in definition, I perhaps would have kept it lighter for a longer time, so I could more, work on it in a more subtle way even. Because it's sometimes a little bit crude and a little too dark here, but I actually like how it turned out, nonetheless. But it was a bit of an afterthought, adding so much skin to this. When I first wanted to make this drawing, I had in mind especially the eye with the eyelashes, those little hairs standing up. So sometimes, and this is a note to myself, it's good to think about it a little more before I start to draw. But hey, I don't mind. It was a fun drawing anyway. And adding skin gives it a more three-dimensional feeling, as if this is a part of something, as from a real face instead of only an eye. Adding some tonal value here and there to define the forms better. Adding some more hairs, or the suggestion of hair, accentuations here and there. And when do you stop? I could have stopped after 2 minutes. When the eye was drawn with the eyelashes, I think it might have been a good drawing as well, but this is more complete in a certain way. There's one accentuation there which is a little too much. Working on it now, yeah. So adding some more definition, trying to get some depth in this area. By adding the skin, the eye can get a little more depth overall, as if it's really in a certain context of the face, in the eye socket. And adding some more tonal values here and there, but finishing it more or less, I think, now. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to stop, and then you keep seeing little things, and the drawing is in fact there, but you want to do something here, you want to do something there. Anyway, this is it. It's finished. Thank you very much for watching, and please subscribe if you like these kind of videos. Thank you.